Hello, beloved. I'm Monica Bermudez, the host for Ascended Earth, the Transfiguration of the New Human. In this episode, I want to talk about the ascended being and the whole balancing of our shadow and light, because we have both shadow and light within ourselves. And I'm going to get into some really deep ancient wisdom here with us and really integrate that knowledge and that wisdom together for a deeper understanding, a remembrance, and a reawakening in those areas. And relation to also doing like the shadow work. And we'll get into some of those deep talks and discussions in it as well. So just feel into the energy of it as well as, the information that comes with it too. So, there is so much talk about the light, but I also want to emphasize that we can't forget about the shadow because it is a part of us. And I know we talk so much about the light, but truly it is about a balance of the two. And the universal laws, the laws of the universe tell us that as well. Many very different ancient philosophies, ancient wisdom from ancient civilizations who knew about it and was really discussed in different ways and in different forms, but they really all meant the same. And really, what um, what triggers, what activates our self love is really the shadow. And so it is from the shadow that a lot of our self love it can also stem from. And it is, from love that can also help transmute a lot of the shadow within ourselves too. So we can't have too much of one or the other. It's just really like this harmonizing and this balancing that occurs. And really, that balancing point, that harmonizing point, is really at the center of our heart, which is a major hub for, at least from my experience, that's what it's been. And the heart has always been emphasized for many eons, for ancient times, and it is now reawakening again within ourselves. So, what has occurred is that because we have been so disconnected from our own heart, which the heart also connects to our cosmic heart and to the universal heart and to the cosmic mother heart, then there was this disconnection that occurred where we forgot a lot of that. And so now we are starting to wake up. And what's helping us, wake up also is hearing that calling of the heart. Sorry, I get so excited. I just want to say everything like so fast. But hearing that calling within your own heart, that calling of your own soul essence, of the divinity of who you truly are within, because you're much more than this physical form that you find yourself here on earth. And so that soul essence is your superpower, is the one that gives you the energetic force and the passion of moving forward, and also remembrance of your own Akashic records. And in those records is soul contract agreements, which then also activates your soul purpose, your soul mission, which are many, in this lifetime. But it's all based, when you really tap into your heart, when you're able to really heal and restore that reconnection within yourself. And that is a reconnection when you heal within your heart, that you're pulling away the different layers of wounds, of grief, of fear, whatever it is you may call the shadow aspect. Because if it is buried in shadow or overshadowed, then it is very hard to discern your situation and also yourself. But it is also very hard to like love yourself too. And so it feels like there is this disconnection because there is a disconnection there. And so the more that you're able to first heal, and coming from a healed heart, that you're able to really expand, to really discern your environment and discern the information that you also receive, right? Because you're equipped with your own powers within of your own divinity. So you have the ability to connect to your own source connection, which is your own higher self. And you don't have to depend on information of others or guidance of others. You become your own independent self rather than a codependent, as the phrase would go, or the term would go, sorry. But yeah, so that's really where the basis of it is through the heart of that balancing state. So a lot of the ancient wisdom of the laws of the universe, one of them is the Kybalion, which you'll hear me talk a lot about it. I grew up studying the Kybalion, a lot of the laws of the universe. And, it's one thing to study, it's another thing to experience it, right? So I grew up with it and also experienced it. And the more that I was experiencing a lot of things, and the more, the deeper of the awakening, it's also about that shifting of perception. So when I go back to review it, I see a different perception of it. So it's this expansion and evolution of this wisdom. And so that is the wisdom that I want to share with you so that you become aware of it, so that you can also apply this in your life and be your own master. Because that's really what the shifting of the perception is also. And the balancing of the shadow and the light is really a mastery of the mastery within. And that is the basis also of our avatar state. So in the Kybalion, which is the Hermetic philosophy, is an ancient wisdom, ancient philosophy, it says that it talks about the principle of polarity. And so everything is dual. And all right, let me say that again. Okay, this is the principle of polarity. It's a universal law. So everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. So extremes meet. All truths are but half truth. All paradoxes may be reconciled. So what do you think it means by all truths are but half truth? Well, if you're looking at the shadow and the light, they're really half truth. And so that's really what that sentence it means, from a Kabbalion standpoint. So what about paradoxes may be reconciled? So let's look at the definition of a paradox. Paradox says that, in the dictionary, that one, such as a person, situation, or action, having seemingly contradictory qualities or phases. And the definition of reconcile is to restore to friendship, or in other words, in harmony. So really what they're saying is that a paradox is reconciled. So it's almost like they harmonize one another, they balance one another when they're both in a harmonic state of, rebalancing. And part of that is, through the heart, because the heart is discerning where, it is going too much into this level or, too little. And so it is, that fine balance and fine tune up within ourselves. Now, this is also related to another ancient philosophy, ancient wisdom that comes through the Chinese philosophy. And I feel that it stems from a lot of the Kybalion, because the Kybalion is based off of Hermetic philosophy, which really comes from Atlantis, and it also has a lot of roots within the Lemurian teachings as well. So in ancient Chinese philosophy, it's known as the yin yang, which you may have heard, out, a lot of these spiritual communities. But what does that really mean? So that's where I really want to dive into what the meaning of that is. And I'll read, this part to you and, information. And this is really to trigger some remembrance and also awakening within yourself. So yin yang is the opposites or contrary forces may create each other by their comparison and are to be seen as actually complementary. So interconnected and interdependent in natural world and how they may give rise to each other as they interrelate to one another. So in light, you could say there is a shadow, and in shadow there is light. So there is that yin yang of this, harmonization that is, within each other. Shadow is a catalyst to the light, and it gives, also a greater appreciation for the light. So without shadow, how can we know about the light? And, until we experience these things, do we differentiate and understand, these 2 points? And so these are focus that are, this is a focus that has existed, for a long time, that a lot of masters recognize and have mastered in themselves. And so being aware of this is actually a really big key for our evolution, our spiritual growth, because it's not really about going out there and really fighting and beating up the shadow, right? The shadow that we have inside of us, or ignoring it. It's really about um, being aware of it, that it's there, and shining a light on it, because when that awareness is really shining a light on something. And so that, what has been hidden is being revealed. And so that's really what's happening a lot right now on the planet too, but it's also happening within ourselves. And it also goes in theme with the eclipse energy, because the eclipse also reveals a lot of hidden um shadow, or things that have been, hidden for a long time, that are now starting to resurface and to be obvious about it. And so this, goes in theme with my previous episode about the dark night of the soul. And so, this message is so key for us to really to really understand, because we are, by truth, we are true alchemists. And so as an alchemist, though, you are the harmonizer and the balancer of those 2 polarities within yourself. See, that is the part where you come in as an alchemist, as a master, because as a master, they are alchemists as well. And there's different layers, there's different levels of being an alchemist. But that is, the basis and the foundation of that knowledge and that wisdom. And wisdom is an application of knowledge. So the next time your shadow starts to act up, or feels like it gets out of balance, then your greatest weapon is love. See, and that is the alchemist's weapon, is love. Because it's not about, like I said, beating it up or fighting it. It's about just looking at it with love from an observer, and just acknowledging it and giving it love. And that is also part of the shadow work as well, is to really use that energetic universal force, which is love. And so I read, somewhere, that love is not really a feeling, but it's more of this deeper consciousness, divine consciousness within ourselves. And I do resonate with that. And I do really feel that, that is the kind of love that, really, that's really emphasized. Um, it's really about that deeper universal love that we hold within ourselves. because, that is the true form of being an alchemist, is having that with us. That should be part of, one of your biggest tools within your own toolbox. So as a master, an alchemist in your life, as you, balance and harmonize your life in those areas, and being true to yourself, most of all. And, as part of, your own self-love, is doing certain acts of self-love that help nurture and encourage you, on your path of your own spiritual growth, and celebrating those victories, however small or big they are in your life. And that also creates that joy vibe, excitement. So celebrate yourself in those victories, and that you stay in that balanced state of your own shadow and your own light. Be aware of what is rising, what is too much something, and keep your heart healed, cleaned, and balanced and tuned up. And I will see you in the new earth. Bye for now.